Hello everybody and welcome back to another series, I suppose, of weathering techniques on DeaGostini's Millennium Falcon. This time I'm not using an airbrush. This is purely using paints and weathering techniques, brushes and stuff for those that do not possess an airbrush. But there will be things like pastels, oils, shading, citadel paints, Vallejo paints, Tamiya paints, you name it. Very rarely do I use enamels. I'm not going to be using enamels, but there's nothing to say that I can't do a tutorial using enamels at some point in the future. So just to start off with, the part that you can see in front of you is one of the original test pieces from DeaGostini from over a year ago. And I've actually put the two halves together, and the base colour that you can see is a colour that I have made up using a series of colours from a company called Zero Paints. I don't know if it's accurate, but at least it's got a good base for what we're going to be doing, and if I turn it over then you can more or less see that there's not a great deal, hopefully a great deal of difference. Doesn't look like it to me, but let you decide that. Okay, so first of all, like with anything, we need to be doing some panel line shading and everything. So I'm going to do one side of it, I'm going to be using paints and washes, and on the other side of it I'm going to be showing you how to do it with using pastels and paints. Okay, so enjoy, sit back. I'm going to try and break these down into some manageable videos as we go along, so at least they don't take days to upload onto YouTube. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be using the Citadel non-oil, and I do apologise if this starts to focus in and out. I'm using an iPad, and I know it's one of those ones that you've got no control over whatsoever unless somebody can point me in the right direction, as a novice myself. So with the non-oil, we're going to be doing some of the panel lines. I'm going to try and keep quiet when I'm doing this, because as you can probably appreciate, it does require a little bit of concentration. We're not just going to be, if you know what I mean, dabbing it all in just to see where it goes. But you don't have to be precise, but you do have to make sure that the actual wash is sitting in the right place. Now, don't worry about going over, because that does not matter. But you don't want it all over the place. You've seen this obviously in one of the previous ones where we then airbrushed over it, but I want to try and do this without that technique, because like I said, it is, not everybody has got an airbrush. And to be quite honest, we all started using brushes before we had the courage to use an airbrush, no different than me. So, like I said, you don't have to be ultra careful, but you do have to think about where you're going to be putting these pre-shading areas, like so. Okay, so I'm just going to do that area. Let's get down that side as well, and we can drag that, get rid of any large puddles. Okay, leave that like that, allow that to dry, and then we'll come back for the next stage of this part. Right, now that's all dry, a few other bits and pieces we're going to be starting to need now. Got a pot here for mixing and putting colours in. We have Vallejo Silver Grey. We also have Vallejo Medium Sea Grey. And we also have Vallejo Foundation White. We also have a trusty old dry artist brush, which is, well, the hairs were a lot longer on there, but this is what I use for my dry brushing. And we've also got some kitchen towel and some rag. Now the only reason I say rag is because rag will not, if it's decent rag, won't leave any bits and pieces. Don't use toilet paper because it will get everywhere. Just use kitchen toweling. All right. Now once we got that, what we need to do first of all is we need to start putting some silver grey over the areas that we've just done. Don't forget, this all has to be completely dry. All right. So give your colour a good shake, and then we're only putting a little bit in there. We're not filling it up. Just look, that's all we're putting in there. Just that. And once we've done that, put that aside. Take your brush, dab it in, so that you've got it all over the end, and then just wipe it off. This is not dry brushing, all right? This is what we're doing just to start to get the panels accentuated, if that's the word. And as you notice, just working away around the insides, putting the colour on. We're not doing anything else. All we're doing is we're just applying the colour. If you need a bit more, but we don't want a lot of paint. And we're just putting it in those areas like so. Even if you're dabbing it, you can dab it. We're not painting it, like I said, it's not a lot. Okay. Once we've got that, and as we're doing that, the paint will then start to blend in, and you keep on doing that until it starts to blend. Once it starts to blend, just gently go over the edges like so. And then next we're going to be moving on to the white. So if you brush a bit of a clean out, once again dab in that. Next, get your foundation white. Place a little bit of foundation white in there. As you can see, we've got that now, and once again getting the white, and now just add into areas like so. I know it all looks a bit of a mess at the moment. I can assure you it won't. Okay. Once again. Now let that dry. Okay, so while we're letting that to dry, I am going to go and get some of my favourite chocolate, and we'll be back in a moment.